Welcome to the yoga method. Our practice today will be focusing on gratitude. What are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? So, as we close down our eyes, we begin to immediately practice gratitude for our bodies, for our breath. And remembering that science tells us gratitude is a practice. We must consciously endeavor to search for those things that we are grateful for and to consciously acknowledge them. Finding connection to your breath as you flood your body with gratitude for the gift of this day, this lifetime. And in the practice of yoga, this concept of contentment, gratitude, is called santosha. So please plant the seeds of gratitude, of santosha, deep within your humble hearts. The eyes remaining closed, our quote for our practice today. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life, and it turns what we have into enough and more. Taking one more full breath as you are, before releasing your hands, opening your eyes, and settling into a horse stance, please. Press your knees wide, tuck your tailbones, lift through your heart center, and begin to breathe consciously with sound. Breathing in and out only through the nose, creating that audible oceanic sound, the rhythm that we move and breathe to. On your next inhalation, circle your right hand past the midline of the body. And on your exhalation, let it find your right thigh again. On your in-breath, circle your left hand up and over. On the exhalation, return to your starting point. Both arms circle and sweep on the in-breath. Exhaling to release. And then please take your hands overhead as you reach high and lengthen through your legs. Before turning your right toes out, your left toes in, energize your legs before moving into Trikonasana. Finding the connection to your feet, the connection to your breath. Feeling the strength of your pelvic floor and your abdominal wall. Rolling open through the heart space, only looking up if your neck will allow. Just feeling the body, allowing the body to lengthen and warm up. For one more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, looking at your big toe, bend deeply into your right knee. And let's come into just a gentle side angle posture. Your knee is stacking over your ankle. Maybe take chin mudra for a moment with your right hand. And then once again, spiraling upwards, opening through the heart. Finding connection to your feet, to your breath. For two more breaths, please. One more full deep breath that reaches the tips of your fingers. Before looking down on your exhalation, please. Rising to your sun warriors, you take a breath in and up. Pausing here to deepen into your right knee once more. Exaggerating the lift and the length through the right side of your torso as your left hand slides down your back leg. There's one more breath remaining. And on your next inhalation, lengthen through your front leg, pausing before returning your toes to the front, taking your hands high, and exhaling back into your horse stance, please. Right arm circles up and around, exhaling to release. Full breath in as the left arm follows the same path. Both hands together, sweeping up and releasing down. And then lengthen the legs as you take a breath all the way to ceiling before turning your left toes in, right toes out. On your next breath in, find the length through the side of your body. And then please just land the hands on the thigh, the shin, or your foot. Micro bend in your front knee. It'll be your left knee. And continue to soar the heart skywards. Grip with your feet, energize your legs, your core, but then flooding the body with breath, with awareness. Last 2 breaths here. One more full deep breath in. And on the out breath, we look to the big toe. We bend deeply into our left knee. And we slide into our supported side angle. So energize through the top arm. Sink into the strength of your legs, taking chin mudra just this first round. So feel the feet. Feel what's happening through your legs, your abdominals. And can you be grateful in this moment for a strong, healthy body? One more full deep breath in. On the out breath, we look down to the big toe. We rise on the inhalation to our sun warrior. Deepening into our left knee. Please check that it's pressing towards the pinky toe. Using your right hand for support. And exaggerate the lift of the ribs, the length through your top arm. Take one more full round of breath in and out. We'll lengthen through our left leg as we breathe in. And then on the exhalation, please turn your toes as both hands reach high. Coming back into your horse stance, please, when the time is right for you. Right arm ready, inhaling up and over. Left arm circles down and around. Release. Both hands circle through the midline of the body. Releasing the hands back to the knees, please. And then lengthen and lift on the in-breath. Right toes out, left toes in. Moving into your Trikonasana as soon as you're ready. Second round. Flip the thumb on the top hand. Please bring that into the curve of your lower back. Deliberately rolling the bottom ribs around. Looking to the floor, to the front, or to the ceiling. Just make sure this feels wonderful to your body and that your body is grateful for this experience. One more full, deep, smooth breath in. And on that out breath, looking down to your big toe, slide your elbow to your thigh and just take this variation. Once again, chin mudra, if it feels right for you. Deliberately keep rolling open. Deliberately keep challenging your legs, but tuning into your body, finding the right position, the right depth that honors how your body is feeling today. Just one more full breath in. On the out breath, look at your big toe, and then rising on the in breath, leave your left hand as it is as you deepen into your sun warrior. Just one more full breath in. And on your exhalation, windmill your arms, frame your foot, and slide to your high plank. Take a breath in as we shift forward. On your exhalation, lower halfway, but come immediately back up on your in-breath. Ready? Exhale to lower halfway. Pause. Rising back up on the in-breath. One more time. Exhaling to lower. And this time, transition to your upward facing dog or your child's pose, please. Propel your hips high, moving into your first down dog. And when the time is right for you, you will lift through your right leg. Stamping down through your right hand, squaring the shoulders as much as we can. Finding connection to breath. Taking one more full deep breath in. And on the exhalation, bring your knee to your right elbow, pause. On the in-breath, touch your left elbow, pause. On the exhalation, right knee, right elbow, pause. Before sending that leg high once again. Step between your hands and pivot towards me for your Skandasana. Variation 1, both hands on the floor. Variation 2, we'll sink that little bit deeper, rolling our left toes to the ceiling. Hands could stay on the earth or hands to prayer. Taking 2 breaths here. One more full deep breath as we enjoy that adductor stretch on the left leg. And when the time is right, ground your hands, move to the middle of your mat, please. Find the lift of your head, the lift of your heart as you breathe in. On the exhalation, turn your toes out, bend your knees really deeply. Hands to your thighs, and we're ready to begin again. Right arm circles down and around. Left arm repeats the pattern. Both arms gathering through the midline. Before we rise all the way up, touching fingertips lightly, preparing for triangle pose, second side. Lengthen on the in-breath till you feel your end point. Landing hands wherever it feels most appropriate for your body. Feel the foundation, be strong, and then flip the thumb. Curve of the lower back, maybe even the crease of your hip, but find comfort, contentment as we pause and breathe for 3, for 2. One more full, deep, heart-opening breath in. And on the exhalation, look at your big toe, bend deeply into your left knee, taking that modified side angle. Chin mudra through your left hand. Right arm maintaining the wrap. So deliberately loop your right shoulder up and back as you sink into the strength of your legs. Last 2 breaths. One more full breath in. On your out breath, look at your big toe. Ready, Sun Warriors. Rising. Sinking. Breathing. So connection to this moment. Gratitude for this moment. For this breath. Take one more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, windmill the arms, frame your foot, lift your back heel, slide to high plank. On the exhalation, just lower halfway, pause. We're coming straight back up. Inhale to rise, knees or toes, please. Exhale to lower halfway, belly strong, rising back up. Third's the charm. As we descend on this third one, transitioning to your baby cobra or upward facing dog before lifting ourselves up and back, downward facing dog. Your left leg is rising as high as it feels good to your body. Taking a moment here to really exaggerate the pressure through your left hand, gazing towards your right big toe. Take one more deep breath as you lift to the tips of your toes. On the out breath, left knee, left elbow, pause. On your inhalation, bring the knee to the opposite elbow, pause. Exhale, bring it back to your left elbow, pause. Before inhaling that leg high again. Step between your hands, meet me in Skandasana. So staying high for option 1. As we descend, the toes turn, and you might find we need to keep the hands on the earth, but the option to bring hands to prayer if you're feeling balanced here. The sweat is flowing, the body's warming. One more full deep breath in, and on the out breath, ground the hands, return to the middle of your mat. Lift your heads, lift your hearts. On the in breath, exhale, turn your toes out, bend your knees deeply, hands coming to your knees. Right arm circles down and around as we breathe in together. Releasing, second side up and over, please. Both hands sweep low as the breath comes in, exhaling to release. Rise all the way up, light yoga, clap above, Trikonasana to your right. Inhale to lengthen, exhaling to land, flipping the thumb, curve the back, roll your hearts open, staying and breathing for 3, for 2. One more deep breath in before spotting the big toe, bending deeply into that knee, please. As we pause here, we can continue to work with this position, or if you feel like a full bind is available, we're taking the right arm in front of the thigh, looping it underneath the right thigh, searching for our fingertips or our wrist, and then deliberately sinking into the hips, rolling the heart towards the ceiling. Press energetically into the outer edge of your left foot as you take one more full deep breath in. On the out breath, spot your landing. Ready, release your right hand as you come to your sun warrior. Deepening into that knee, lift, listen. Could you possibly lift your right heel as you stay and breathe for 2? So sinking down into the hips as we lift through the heel, as we lift through the right hand. One more breath in before windmilling the arms, framing your foot. Slide to your high plank on the in-breath. Lower halfway, yogi push-up. Ready to come straight back up on the in-breath. Knees or toes. Exhale to lower, straight, strong, powerful. Rising back up on the in-breath, please. Last time as we transition down, taking cobra or upward facing dog, opening front body before lifting up and back, downward facing dog. On your in-breath, rising with your right leg again, but I'd love for you to bend through your top leg and press it towards me. So right hand is powerful, lifting dynamically through your right leg, pressing it across the line of the body. Option to stay. Option to lift to the tips of your left foot, pivot on the ball of the foot, flipping your dog carefully, reaching high with your right hand, or taking it all the way overhead. Wherever you are, celebrating your efforts, practicing gratitude in this moment as we take one more full deep breath in together. Spot your landing, follow your eye gaze. We all meet in a 3-legged dog. On the in-breath to the tips of the toes. On your exhalation, right knee, right elbow, pausing. Come underneath the line of the body as you take a breath in, pausing. On the exhalation, right knee returns to right elbow before sending that leg high. Step between your hands. Meet me in Skandasana. Option 1, variation 2, and then I'd love for us all to explore right hand down, left hand high on the diagonal. Option to stay. We can flip that hand and bring it to the curve of the lower back. We could also flip this thumb and bring it around the shin, moving into your version of a half bind, a full bind, if that feels beautiful to your body today. Taking 2 more breaths. Draw the toes back on your left foot. Energize your left quadricep. Feeling Mula Bandha, feeling your core. On your next in-breath, release whatever variation you took with your hands to return before transferring to the middle of the mat. On your inhalation, lift your head, your heart, and then I'd love for you to walk your hands forward or maybe wiggle your feet back. So coming into the tips of the toes for a moment, and on your exhalation, lowering as far as your body will allow. On the in-breath, press up. So moving into a yogi-style wide leg forward fold push-up. Strengthening through the shoulders, strengthening through the arms, strengthening through the core, and practicing gratitude for our strength. Just one more. The last one's a lucky one. Gently, slowly moving towards your floor before rising back. Release the feet, walk the hands in. On the inhale, lifting heads and hearts. On the exhalation, turn the toes, bend the knees, hands to the knees, please. Right hand circling down and around. Exhale to release. This is your last time through your flow. Inhaling up and over. Gently release. Inhale, both arms, circles, sweep breath in. Slowly let the breath come out. Rise and reach, lengthen the legs, palms lightly touch before opening to your left for Trikonasana. Extending on the in-breath, landing the hands where it feels right for you, flipping the thumb, curve of the lower back, or crease of the hip, only if your shoulder will allow. Gazing to the big toe, to the front, or all the way to your ceiling, feeling your strength, feeling your flexibility, feeling the beauty of you. As you take one more deep inhalation, feel the strength of your legs before gazing down, bending deeply into your left knee. Option to return to your supported side angle. If you took the bind on the other side, you'll bring your left hand and shoulder to the inside. You'll reach underneath, and you're searching, searching for a t-shirt, fingertips, or wrist. And then we need to deliberately deepen back through the knee and the pelvis, rolling the top shoulder up, perhaps gazing to the ceiling. Last 2 deep, brave breaths in. One more full deep breath, please. Before the exhalation has you gazing down, the inhalation has you rising to a celebratory sun warrior. Stay exactly as you are, but see if you could possibly lift through your heel on your left foot. So sinking into the knee, lifting through the heel, reaching high with your left hand. Last 2 breaths. One more full deep breath in before we release the heel. Windmill the arms, frame the foot. Slide to high plank as you breathe in. Travel through your yogi push-up as you breathe out. Ready to come back up. Inhale, smooth and strong. Knees or toes. Elbows tight, eyes forward, belly strong. Rising up once more. Last time to descend. And then move through baby cobra or an upward facing dog before we lift ourselves up and back, downward facing dog. Left leg is rising when you're ready. More emphasis into your left hand, especially as you bend into your left knee. Press your left foot towards me. So left foot's traveling to the right as we endeavor to keep the shoulders square. Please stay exactly as you are, or flipping your dog if you did on the first side. So we rise to the ball of the foot, right foot. We pivot on the ball of the foot, and once we flip, we reach high with our left hand, or we can take that arm overhead. Press into your feet. Feel your hamstrings, your glutes lift you. Feel the strength of your right shoulder as you take one more full breath in. Spot your landing on your out breath. Flipping over, return to your 3-legged downward facing dog. On the in breath to the tips of your right toes. On your exhalation, left knee, left elbow. Pause. Inhale to come underneath the line of the body. Pause. One more time, left knee, left elbow, pause before sending that leg high. Stepping between the hands, turn towards me. Your final skandasana, high. So even if we're a little bit higher, we could take that same arm pattern. Variation 2, we're coming down a little bit deeper. So left hand to the earth, right hand towards the sky. Stay as you are. Or a half bind, flipping right hand, curve the back. Full bind, flip the thumb, bring the left arm to the curve of the back. You might find your fingertips, you might not. It's okay. You might even find your wrist. Perfect. Wherever you are, celebrating this body, giving thanks, flood yourself with gratitude as you take one more breath in and out. On your inhalation, please return to that long diagonal arm pattern before bringing the hands to the earth, returning to the middle of the mat. Last time to walk the hands forward or walk the feet back if you need. Lift to the tips of your toes. Take a breath in together. And on your exhalation, bending through your elbows, moving as far as it feels safe for you. Rising back up, please. Exhale, feel the strength of your legs, your core, your arms, your shoulders. Pressing away again. Last 3. Be strong in every fiber of your body. Rise and push. Last 2. So legs are alive, arms are strong, core supports us. Push, 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 push. One more time. Are you still feeling thankful? I sure do hope so. Ready. Press the earth away, pausing, release the heels, walk the hands back, lift your heads and hearts, and please reward yourselves with a wide leg forward fold. So you can shorten your stance if you feel like you need a little bit more. And I'd love for you to hold your calves, your heels, just taking support. Grip with your feet, press into the pinky toe, shift your weight slightly forward, and just breathe. Feeling that beautiful quality of energy that our tapas, that our practices bring. Moving and breathing with devotion for all of the blessings, all of the gifts in our lives. When you're ready, please ground your hands, lift your heads as you take a breath in, and we're moving to frog pose. That's a gift every time. So to come into frog, I'm going to continue to face you. You'll bring yourself to the floor on your hands and knees. That maybe wasn't the most graceful way to get there, but we got there. And then you'll take your feet wide. So if this is not feeling good to your body, you'll come to child's pose with your big toes together. If frog pose is feeling like exactly what your body needs, your hips are at 90, your knees are at 90, your feet are at 90. And then I would like for you, whether you're in child's pose or frog, to shift forward on your in-breath, to shift back on your out-breath. And could you close your eyes so that you can really feel what your body is feeling? Practicing gratitude in this moment. And science tells us that the practice of gratitude has a profound effect on our well-being. It reduces stress, it improves our relationships, it improves our sleep quality. Everything in our lives that we wish to improve, we can improve through the very simple but so profound practice of gratitude. Take one more breath with movement, and once you have found the perfect spot for you, you'll stay right here. You might stretch your arms forward. I do not have space today to do that, so I'm going to just lower down to my forearms, releasing my forehead. I am grateful for a nervous system that is supplying me with all this amazing sensation. Last 2 breaths. One more full deep breath, please. And only when you decide you're ready, you'll gently ground your hands beneath your shoulders to come out of this. You'll lift through your heart space. You'll tuck your toes in, and then you'll scoop your knees up and in. I'm just going to turn this way. You can stay facing me if you like, but I'd like for you to stretch out your wrists momentarily. So begin in 4-point kneeling, and we're moving towards, I'm going to call it a fun arm balance, but there'll be so many options, so many stepping stones that everyone can absolutely feel successful. So we're shifting weight forward, we're shifting weight back, and we're just noticing how the wrists are feeling as we transfer into a little bit more wrist flexion and then release. So just do 2 more like this, please. And then when you are ready, pausing, you'll flip the back of your right hand. And for most of us, we'll need to do one hand at a time because this is a much stronger stretch as we test the health of our wrists. So once you have flipped that hand, you might find movement feels good. You might feel like there's so much intensity already you don't want to move. What I want you to notice is whether or not you could stay with one or if you'd like to go to both. And the way the body will avoid sensation is it'll bend the elbows. So just slowly, mindfully, patiently, lovingly, just see if you can begin to lengthen a little bit, remembering we can do one at a time. So if you are on one hand, I'd like for you to switch now to the other side. And then up to you once again, whether you're creating a little bit of gentle movement. This is a big stretch. Lots of glorious sensation running up the forearms. Our hands are so hardworking. Our wrists are so hardworking. Yet we very rarely stretch them. This is your last breath on one or both because we'll be nice and equal. And then a much kinder one. Please turn your hands out to the side. And then just take a moment to rock from side to side. And then if it feels good, just creating circles, 3 or 4, one direction, before we ease our way the other direction. I'm hoping your wrists are feeling free and ready to just play. We're just playing with an arm balance. So pausing there for a moment, you might be able to sit on your heels. You might need to just come up, but just give everything a shake. Interlace your fingers, roll through your wrists. And then one more shake, okay? So as we come into a very modified peacock pose with lots of stepping stones, we are turning our fingertips into that really strong stretch that we took. So this is stage 1 for this arm balance, okay? My mat's crooked. Does that do anybody else's head in? So hands turned back towards your knees. This is variation 1. This is all we're going to do today, but we're thinking about an angry cat shape between our shoulder blades, please. Variation 2, we start strengthening a little bit further by still thinking angry cat, but with the tuck of the toes, we're going to pause and hover the knees off the mat, feeling the strength through your core, your shoulders, your wrists, and then when you've had enough, you'll just come down, shake, roll, whatever you need to do. So return to step 1, and then step 2 is that little bit of a hover. Stage 3 is, could I bend my elbows a little bit and then come back up before resting? So it's like the world's most awkward way of doing kind of a little tricep push-up. So experimenting, that is all we're doing. Playing with shapes, no discomfort in the wrists or the shoulders. Do a few of those. Decide, was that my end point? Is that where I'm going to stay? From there, stage 1. Stage 2, you're hovering the knees. Stage 3, you're practicing mini push-ups. Stage 4, we step the feet wide and the legs go long. And then once again, we're just playing with that little bit of a shift forward, a bend of the elbows until they touch the ribs or the hips, and then a shift back. So a little shift, bend, come up, and relax. What do you think? So from there, at some point, maybe in this lifetime, maybe the next, our feet are going to come off the floor as the elbows tuck into the hip bones, okay? In it together, just playing. We are just playing. Sorry, little ant. Off you go. Just don't want to squish you. He's coming straight for me. Hopefully he'll bypass my legs. So once you're ready, grounding into your hands, deciding if this is where you're staying. Variation 2, a little lift of the knees. Variation 3, you could bend your elbows. Variation 4, you're shifting your legs long. And from there, we're bending the elbows, shifting to the balls of our feet, catching our elbows, and then seeing if we could lift the legs a little bit. Breathing. Before returning the feet. Returning the knees and just landing in your child's pose, please. Feeling the breath moving into all those places, all those spaces, as the breath feeds every single cell of the body. The good news is we're taking a break from peacock pose. The good news is, or the bad news, it's all good news. It is all good news. We're going to try it once more in a moment. So let's do a little bit of core cultivation. You might cross your ankles and just sit over top of your feet, or you might swing your legs around. However we get to this seated position, it'll be perfect. I'd like for you to begin with your hands behind you, with your fingertips facing you, with your hearts open. And then from there, could you pick up your knees, please? So a little soft elbow bend, but really deliberately lifting through the chest, drawing the heads of the shoulders back. Take a breath in together. On the exhalation, lower to your elbows. And on your inhalation, bring the knees as close to the chest as you can. On the out breath, lower as far as it feels safe to your body, to your back. Rising back up, knees towards your chest. Exhaling to lengthen, lower to your elbows, to your forearms. Rising up, using the strength of the core to pull you in. Last 3. Rising up. Last 2. Exhaling to lower. Inhaling to return. One more time. Exhaling to lower. And inhale to return. Release your feet for just a moment. Hug yourselves underneath as you roll back to open up back body. One more full breath, please. Staying with our core focus for a moment more. We're going to place our hands, this time with our fingertips turned out, but I'd like for you to lower to your left forearm and sit on your left cheek. The hand is lightly touching the floor behind me, and we'll pick up through our knees. On the in-breath, prepare a light heart. On the exhalation, maybe just lengthening your top leg. Inhale to return. Duration 2, both legs lengthening. Gently return on the in-breath. Exhale to lengthen. Keep pressing through the arm. Inhale to return. Last 4. Exhaling long. Inhale, reset, reconnect. Last 3. Whew. Gently return and pause. 2 to go. Feeling gratitude for our abdominals, our quadriceps, our hip flexors. Gently returning, and one more time. Exhale to pause, lengthen and hold before gently returning your knees, returning your feet, and rising all the way back up. One Paschimottanasana as we reach high on the in-breath, and exhaling just to ease your way over as far as it feels good to your body. Bend your knees as much as you need. Maintain a lifted, buoyant heart. Gazing at your big toes as you gently, slowly allow the hamstrings and the lower back to release. Embracing this moment, giving thanks in this moment. One more breath. On your inhalation, please lift through your head, lift through your heart, and on your exhalation, sitting tall. We'll tuck in through our left foot, and we'll take one Janu Shirshasana A on this side before we come to the other side, please. So once again, lengthening, resting the hands on the thigh, the shin, reaching for your foot. Wherever this posture feels most amazing to your body is where I want you to be. We roll the left ribs in. We melt our shoulders away from our ears. Taking 3 more breaths as we gaze at the big toe. Actively draw your toes back. Actively continue to lengthen your spine. One more full breath in and out. On your in-breath, lifting heads, lifting hearts. As we exhale, release that. Turn towards me. Keep that leg where it is and bring the second leg over. So let the pinky toe find the earth. And I'd like for you to walk that foot away. So rather than tucking it towards the hip joint, could you just inch it away? Take a moment to see if the hands behind you feel like your best option, or sitting tall just for a moment, feeling what you're feeling, but then either taking a twist, sitting really tall, or taking a twist once you've come into a little bit of flexion, and then creating rotation. So grounding into the pelvis, deepening first into a little bit of lateral flexion, flexion, before creating your version of rotation. That half bind that we've taken throughout class, let's just do that once more. Whether you're sitting tall, whether you're moved forward, just looping your right hand into the curve of the lower back for 2 more breaths. One more, please. And when you're ready, ease your way up on your next in-breath, gently releasing your version of the twist on the out-breath. And let's come back into 4-point kneeling, facing the other end of your mat, please. There's birds above me eating flowers, so things keep coming onto the mat, which is a pretty heavenly way to practice with birds above you. So into peacock pose, turning the wrists for variation 1. Variation 2, angry cat through the shoulder blades, a little tuck of the toes to lift the knees. Variation 3, you're practicing bending the elbows in that shape. Variation 4, we step the feet wide and long, and then we shift to the tips of the toes. We lower onto bent elbows. We shift weight to the point where hopefully our feet get light, staying and breathing for 2, for 1, before gently returning your feet to the midline, releasing your efforts, releasing your wrists, rolling out, shaking out, celebrating our efforts, celebrating our curiosity as we come back onto our seat for our second round of modified boat pose. So remembering hands coming behind us, hearts lifted, knees lifted as we take the breath in together. On the exhalation, lower as far as it feels good to your body. Return and hold. So as we lengthen, we're keeping the abdominal wall drawn in. Please don't let your belly pop out. And as we return, endeavor to bring your knees as close as you can. Last 4. Returning on the in-breath. Exhale, lengthen. Return on the in-breath. Last 2. Exhale, lower belly drawn in strongly. Rising up on the in-breath. Lucky last one. Here we go. Before reaching knees towards the chest, feet to the floor, pausing to wrap under and roll back. We're coming into that modified boat in a twist position to target our obliques. One more breath here. Before lifting hearts, taking hands back for a moment, and then we come into our right forearm, but we keep our heart lifted with our back arm straight and the fingertips on the earth. Sitting on your right glute, press into your elbow, press into your back hand. Take a breath in together. On the exhalation, lengthening through one leg only. Inhaling to return. Variation 2. Lengthening through both legs. Keep lifting through the heart. Gently return. So same premise. Pelvic floor is engaged. Navel's drawing towards the spine. And every time your legs come back, I want you to reset the pelvic floor and the navel towards the spine. Last 3 repetitions. Gently return, push down to lift up. Last 2, exhale, lengthen, pause and hold. Inhale to return. This is it. One more. Exhale, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Before gently returning the knees, gently returning the feet. And let's go into a wide leg forward fold. Feet as wide as your space will let you. I'm going to turn towards you. And before we move into that wide leg forward fold, we always take a moment to really establish the length of the spine before we gently ease our way in any amount that feels good. Remembering we love bent knees, so bend your knees as much as you need. But please close your eyes and take a moment to invite a gentle swaying motion into this beautiful stretch, swaying to the rhythm of your breath, and really allow the breath to initiate the movement. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. Pausing for one more full deep breath in and out. And on your inhalation, lift your head and heart. It'll be your right foot that's tucking into Janu A. I'll re-square myself this way. So foot is above or below the knee. Left knee is bent as much as you need as you reach high on the in-breath. And then please just ease your way out on your out-breath, taking whatever variation speaks to what your body is needing. Consciously draw your toes back regardless. Consciously roll your right ribs towards your left inner thigh. How deeply can you breathe into this moment? And what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? Taking one more full deep breath, please. And when the time is right for you, please lift your heads, your hearts, pausing before gently easing our way out of that shape. So turning now towards you, you could leave that leg exactly as it is, but threading your left leg over. And once again, don't worry about tucking the foot up towards the hip line. Just see if you can inch the foot away instead. It targets the ITB band or IT band a little bit more by doing that angle. Hands behind you, exploring whether this is the best option for you to take your twist, or whether or not you came into lateral flexion, and then rotation. So grounding with your right hand, pressing with your left to create the rotation you're looking for. Any option, as long as it's feeling good to our body, is the perfect option. Connecting with our breath, feeling the sensations in the body. I am grateful for this day. I am grateful for this body. I am grateful for this breath. One more full breath as you are. And on your next inhalation, returning your eye gaze, easing your way out on the out breath, and either coming into cross leg for our last little bit of core cultivation. Seems to be an endless amount of core cultivation today. But with your feet crossed, your hands are going to be just in front of your hips, fingers spread. We'll work on holding into this shape for 5 breaths. And then you'll uncross and you'll recross, and we'll hold once again for 5 breaths. Variation 2, if lotus is part of your practice, then coming into lotus. So gently helping yourself in, and we never need to do lotus. It depends on how your knees are feeling in this particular posture. So variation 1, your ankles are crossed, and you are grounding through your feet, grounding through your hands, and lifting through your pelvis. Variation 2 in your lotus, you're lifting through your knees, you're grounding into your hands, and then we're lifting the pelvis off the floor. Regardless, the chin is lifted, the belly is working strongly, and we are focused on our breath for 3 more breaths, please. Last 2. Grateful for the shakiness I feel. 1 more, please, before gently releasing. You'll uncross, you'll recross, you'll give your wrists a little reprieve before coming to the other side. So you'll notice we normally do right leg up first and then left, and we quite often don't necessarily reverse it, but if it feels available, just crossing and recrossing the other way if your body will allow. Just part of the Ashtanga tradition, they always do right up first. So second variation, knees up and then bum up. First variation, feet down and then bum up. Ready, set. So press into the hands regardless, lifting pelvis as far as you can. Shoulders away from ear, chin stays lifted slightly. Smile and practice gratitude for these last 2 breaths. 1 more breath in before gently releasing. The hands, give a little bit of love, releasing any way that feels good to you. Before releasing your feet. And finally, it is time to lie ourselves down. So please take your time, rolling down 1 vertebra at a time, gathering your knees to your heart, and taking a moment just to gently release through your lower back. As we prepare for our back bend, bridge pose. So wheel pose, always on offer, just depending on how your back is feeling. But bridging, a beautiful option and one that serves our lower back so well. You'll take your peace fingers, you'll touch your heels, you'll lift your head to make sure your hips and your knees are aligned. We use the hands to check that the feet are equal, because often one foot will be slid ahead of the other. So landmarking with your fingers, and then release your head, flush your palms into the floor. Breathe the energized pelvic floor, lower belly, and then tucking your tailbone as you lift up into your bridge shape. Please feel the 4 corners of your feet, your hamstrings, your glutes. How broad can you be across your collarbones? And from here, taking your hands to the ceiling, holding the ceiling, and then placing your palms just beside your head. So variation 1, this is exactly where we're going to stay. And variation 2, you're welcome to move to the crown of your head, but that is such a tough little stepping stone. In variation 3, you'll move into your version of wheel pose. But I'm going to stay here with the variation 1. So elbows will want to splay wide. You are not going to let that happen. You'll keep your elbows to the ceiling. Your knees will want to splay. You're not going to let that happen. You're going to contain the energy through the inner thigh. So feeling the lift of the pelvis as we breathe in. Press into your hands so you get an idea of the energy that it would require to lift yourselves upward. On your in-breath, lift a millimeter higher. On your exhalation, stay and breathe. 2 more breaths, powering up for a breath. Exhaling to maintain the height. 1 more time, strong, full, smooth breath in. And on your exhalation, releasing your hands and peel your way down. Slowly, smoothly, 1 vertebra at a time. We'll gather our knees to our chest once again. Taking that little release of the lower back as we come out of extension and into flexion. So moving into inversions, we can always take that restorative happy baby pose. We could also put our legs up a wall. This is a really beautiful restorative inversion. And if you're coming into shoulder standing, we want to make sure that there's no pressure ever in the neck. So we must use our hands, our elbows, our shoulders to take the weight rather than feeling it through our neck. If you, like me, have a ponytail at the nape of your neck, that was a tongue twister, just slide it out of the way. So as we come into shoulder stand, we'll do candlestick, plow pose, and knee to ear pose, 5 breaths each. To begin shoulder standing, just think about a reverse curl. And reverse curls are something that is so important for us to work on, to strengthen the lower abdominals, so that we have the strength first to get up into our shoulder stand. But we also need that lower abdominal strength to control the descent of our shoulder stands. So maybe just do 2 more of these little lifts with me. So press with your hands, lift with your hips, scoop with your abdominals. And on this last one, let's stay here. So you pick up, you catch your hips. I always start with my knees bent over top of my face so I can get my hands into a better position. And then begin to lengthen through your legs only if it feels right for you. So the neck is free because the weight is being held by my elbows, my upper arm, and my shoulders. Energize the legs as much as you can. Point your toes. Finding breath, a little bit trickier to breathe in a shoulder stand position. And we're always focusing on the primary essentialness of our breath. There's just 1 more breath remaining. And as we transition into plow pose, we need to keep the hands supporting the hips, especially if the feet are dangling. You can always use your yoga blocks to support your feet, or a chair, or a wall. If the feet find the floor, then we can bring the hands to the floor as well. Please press deliberately into your hands, your elbows, your shoulders, so your neck feels free. Toes together, legs are really powerful, straight and strong. Stay for 3 more breaths. There is no discomfort in your neck, and if there is, you're immediately transitioning out to your happy baby pose. 1 more breath, please. Anapasana. We begin with the knees at the forehead, and then we separate the knees if it feels like there's space. You might need to catch your hips again with your hands, but you're physically squeezing the ears with the knees, blocking out the sounds around you, drawing your senses inwards, and return to the floor as we take 3 more breaths. One more breath in, and then to transition out, come back to your halasana legs. Skim your legs as close to your face as you possibly can, using your arms, using your core to control the descent. Let the legs continue their journey, but do not take it to the point where your back feels compromised. So the moment you feel you might be losing the control over the descent, just bend your knees. And once you're there, lift your pelvis, place your hands underneath your hips with your palms down, fingers spread, thumbs touching. Just a modified fish pose to counterbalance our flexion. So we tuck the elbows in, we energize through the hands, the elbows, the shoulders. We energize the legs and the core. Point your toes, lift your head for variation 2. Lift your heart for variation 3. Release your head for variation 4. And maybe picking up your feet for variation 5. Wherever you are, giving thanks for this body, for this practice, for the technology that allows us to share. Taking 1 more breath before gently releasing your feet, releasing your head, and releasing all efforts as you turn your palms to the ceiling and take a moment just to completely release and relax all your efforts. You scan your inner world, noticing the quality of energy that you have cultivated with your yoga practice. yoga practice, every time we step onto our mats, we practice self-care, we practice self-love as we go through the ups and downs, the twists and turns, the highs and the lows. The perfect metaphor of the rich tapestry of our lives. It is easy to practice gratitude when everything is going well. But can you also be just as grateful in the moments when you are failing, falling, stumbling, in the moments that you hit rock bottom, you find a glimmer of light, you find something to hold on to in that moment. And as we rest in our stillness, I'd love for you to choose 3 things that you are grateful for. And over these next 3 breaths, just silently, internally affirming, I am grateful for. I am grateful. I am grateful for. Grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my friends and family. And I'm grateful for the practice of yoga. Beautiful yogis, please stay in Shavasana for as long as you wish. If you need to return to your day, we will consciously, with gratitude-filled heart, begin to deepen our breath. Spreading the lungs, the ribs wider. Spreading our awareness further. And mindfully, lovingly, appreciatively inviting movement back into our body, to our hands, to our feet, through our shoulders, to our neck. And if your shoulders will allow, take your arms overhead, a full big body yawn from fingertip to toe, before sliding your arms down and around, bending your knees one at a time, gathering your knees to your hearts, hugging yourself so tightly, rocking your body so gently. And as we roll to the right hand side of our body, we linger for a breath, for rising to a seated position. Rounding into the sit bones, lengthening through our spine, growing tall into the space above us. Please bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. And as we pause just at the end of our practice, silently, internally, feeling gratitude for the gift of this day, this body, this lifetime. From my heart to yours, namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.